Welcome to another exciting edition of Words, Images, and Worlds. As always, I'm glad to be talking about literacy and all things comics and reading on the channel. And on this episode, I'm delighted to be talking with author and artist Sofia Szamosi. Sophie, thank you for joining.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely glad to have you. Glad to have you. Did I do okay on your name? Was that good?
Yes, yes, you got it.
Perfect. All right. All right. So usually I ask a question here at the top of the chat about something related to your origin, something related to your early development. I'm curious what got you into the world of comics, what drew you to comics?
I was just thinking about this because I never intended to even enter the world of comics, but when I look back at a lot of my childhood artwork, I was making comics before I even really understood what they were, and I was not a big comic book reader as a kid. I had um some exposure, like probably too young exposure to R. Crumb when I was really little. But
Mm-hmm.
uh, I wasn't super into comics in my until probably my early 20s. I started reading graphic memoir and graphic novels, Mouse and Alison Bechdel and Persepolis and but I wasn't really thinking about making them. Until probably 2016 when I made my first graphic novel, Unretouchable.
Nice, nice. And the book that we're talking about on this episode is Bad Kid, although we can certainly tap into any of the work that you've done. I'm curious with this book, which, by the way, arrived at my school in the mail, which was amazing. It was great to have that ready and in the classroom.
Cool.
Um, yeah, yeah. Curious about with this book, what was the inspiration, the creative spark, like the roots of the story?
So this is a graphic memoir. It's about my adolescence and my experiences being sent away to uh, therapeutic programs for troubled teens starting when I was 13. So when I was 13, I was awoken in the night by two escorts and taken away to a therapeutic wilderness program where I ended up living for a year and a half. And then when I was 16, it happened again. I was sent away again, this time to three different programs. So over the course of my adolescence, I ended up being away for a total of 2 years. And I knew the whole time I was away that I was going to make art about it at some point. I didn't know yet what medium it would be. I didn't know yet that it would be a graphic memoir. But after making my first book, I think the whole time I was working on my first book, I was like, I want to make a book about being sent away.
Yeah, there's a really interesting style that you've employed, and one of the things that was most striking to me about it is the color scheme. You have this really dramatic sort of lights and darks, like crimson comes through. How did you decide on some of those parts of the visual style?
I originally conceived of it just being black and white with pops of red. I've
Hmm.
always really loved working in black and white. It's my favorite, just simple. Even when I was a kid, I just all I really wanted to do was just draw with a black pen. With this, I had this idea of a pop of color, a pop of red being a sort of way to just create, intensity and moments of passion or, puncturing the image in an interesting way. And then at the end, I ended up going in and adding gray as well. So it ended up being black and white and gray with pops of this red. So yeah.
Wow. If I can tuck a question here with the graphic memoir of it, what was it like to sort of go back and artistically render and kind of explore the time that way for you?
It was very interesting. I really enjoyed it. It was like really easy for me to do. It just sort of flowed, which was very gratifying. I looking back and during the process, it really felt like my inner teen was just making this book, you know, like she
Mhm.
it felt like it was her voice, her spirit that was coming through. And and I think that even kind of comes across in the style.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot that I appreciate about the book, and as I was telling you before we started recording, it came to my school and enjoyed it, and have since handed it on to a student that's also interested in art and plan to share it further. Um, with that in mind, what are you hoping that readers take away as they go through the story?
You know, uh I don't have a clear one thing I want people to take away. You know, I think everyone takes their own thing from a book. So anyone that it resonates with, I just think that's so cool. But you know, like we were just talking about graphic memoirs that inspired me as a young person, you know, if anyone was inspired to tell their own story through reading mine, I think that would be super cool. You know, I think it's an awesome medium and an awesome way to, you know, tell our stories. And so I'm proud to add to that canon. Did that make
Absolutely.
sense?
Yeah, yeah, I love that response. And I was looking through the student sketchpad today, so I have no doubt that she'll be responding and creating. Um, is graphic memoir a space that you'd like to continue exploring? Is that something that you'd like to continue rooting out?
Yes, I am working on my third book, which is another graphic memoir. And this one is for an adult audience. It's called Fertile. It's coming out with Street Noise Books. And it's a graphic memoir about my recovery from eating disorders and healing my fertility.
Amazing, amazing. Well, thank you for sharing that work. I know that's quite the process artistically, and I'm sure there's the personal journey that becomes part of that too.
Totally.
Yeah. Um, Anywhere where we might go to learn more about you, to follow along, and kind of see what you're creating and check out the work.
Yes, you could go to my website, which is www.sofiasamosi.net, and also Instagram.
Well, many thanks, Sophia. Wonderful chat. Great to have you on, and certainly glad to have you back anytime.